Okay, so we're live. All right, now the big news today was we found out yesterday Jensen has surfaced again. This guy keeps popping up, you know. You kind of forget he's out there. He's like a silent assassin. They keep him on the down low. Nobody remembers he's there. Even though, you know, they announce what he's up to, people, he kind of recedes into the background and people move on to other things, other stories, rise to the surface. I mean, people kind of forget he's there. Well, so Jensen has spent the last, I think it's 3 weeks now. He moved from where he started. He started out in the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington, D.C. That's where he found the original batch of exculpatory documents. He found them in the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office because that's the office the Mueller team was working out of. He went in there and he found all the documents they were hiding from the Flynn defense team and from the court. So once he was done there, he announced about 2 weeks ago that Jensen is just sashaying his way over to the FBI headquarters, and he's going to take a gander inside the FBI headquarters. And that made the news when Christopher Wray writes a letter, and he comes out with this letter and says, "I swear eternal fealty to Attorney General William Barr and to his specially appointed prosecutor, special investigator, Jeffrey Jensen. I'm going to cooperate 100%. I'm going to give them whatever they want." And it looks like he has, because 2 days ago, here comes Jensen surfacing yet again, and he's got more exculpatory documents to hand off to Sidney Powell. And this new document was unsealed today, and what it shows is that, the story's been for 3 years now that the FBI is off doing this thing on its own, and Obama doesn't know anything, Biden says he doesn't know anything, and, you know, nobody's monitoring the story. Comey's out there running this on his own. Well, these notes today, which happen to be the notes from Peter Strzok, you know, the FBI agent that got fired 2 years ago. These notes from Strzok reveal that not only do Obama and Biden know about the launching of this new investigation into General Flynn, they played an active role in starting it. So 3 years of lies just went poof. Chillum especially has had those pinned tweets. He's got that googly-eyed Obama saying, "I do not talk to the FBI director about ongoing investigations. I do not discuss ongoing investigations." Then we have all these clips from interviews that Biden's been given the last couple of months where he comes out and says, I didn't know a thing about any of these investigations into Flynn. Nobody told me anything. I didn't play a role in this. I knew nothing about it. And then these notes come up today show that not only do they know about it, they're actively participating in launching it. Obama wants to make sure he's telling Comey, make sure you put the right people in charge of this. And Biden's like, hey, let Uncle Joe tell you how to go after this Flynn guy. Use the Logan Act. Yeah, the Logan Act. Yeah, use that. So this is just about the most amazing plot twist there could ever have been in the 2020 election. For the Democratic nominee, they've suddenly done a face plant right in the middle of the Spygate plot, right in the middle of the criminal conspiracy to bring General Flynn for a crime to get him fired. Joe Biden does a face plant right in the middle of it today. Yeah, it's glorious. And I've been saying on my Twitter today, See, I know the impression is given that Jensen just found this like a day or two ago. Like he just stumbles over. Oh my God! Look what this said. I better get this to Sidney Powell, and he rushes out to the D.C. District Court to give it to Sidney Powell and the foreign defense thing. Yeah, okay. I don't think that's a cover story. I think they've had this for some time now. They've known about Obama and Biden's involvement in this from the start. And they've known about it and they've sat on it. I mean, I'm amazed. Can you imagine just staying for even 1 month holding back and for 1 month having the evidence that the president, the then president, and the then vice president of the United States if they get ready to transition to the incoming administration, they're actively involved in plotting against the Trump NSA, against Flynn. You have this evidence and it didn't leak. I mean, I try to convey to people how extraordinary this is. A town that has a leak culture that is literally everywhere. I mean, this is one of the things that back in 2017 made the job that Trump and his people were facing. This is the one thing that made it look almost like a labor of Hercules. How are you going to pull this off? They're everywhere. They're all around you. How are you going to get anything done when all these people are waiting to leak everything you're planning? They're all around you. They're listening. They're constantly digging, trying to find out what your real plans are. What do you know? What do you have? So they can go rushing to the Washington Post or the New York Times or NBC News or whoever and say they can leak it and sabotage you. How are you going to accomplish this? Well, I just continue to see more evidence that there are some really serious geniuses in charge of this thing. They do a lot of this stuff on the background. You don't see what they're doing. They will not bring it out until they're ready to bring it out. They're not going to drop it until everything's ready for it to be dropped. So they've known for some time about Biden saying only the Democratic nominee for president. He's right in the middle of this, and they wait until now to roll this out. That's timing. Timing is everything. I mean, think about if this had come out 3 or 4 months ago. Now they're committed to Biden. Biden is the guy. Now they're stuck with him. And this is just another piece of evidence. I'm sure they have more. They have more evidence that's going to prove just how deeply involved Obama and Biden were in setting this up. And so, but we won't see it until they're ready to bring it out. And they're going to let Biden say more lies. They're going to let Obama and other people lie some more. They're going to let them dig themselves deeper in the hole. And then more evidence will come out and they'll be cut again. Now Biden has to explain in light of these notes, why did he go on Good Morning America and all these other shows? Why did he lie about saying he not only didn't participate in any investigation before, he didn't even know about it. And here are these notes from Strzok showing not only did he know about it, he's the one that brought up the Logan Act. And now I'm told that my camera lens is dirty. Give me a second. All right. Yeah, better. Okay. So Biden is right in the middle of this. He's now got to explain it. Why did I go up there and spend weeks saying I didn't know anything? So, not a good look for a guy who's already suffering from dementia. Now, Biden has a habit of lying. He had 2 presidential campaigns in the past absolutely cratered because he got caught lying. And big surprise, the plagiarism thing, all that stuff he was involved in. Now he's caught lying again. So now he's got to deal with that. And it's kind of interesting. They waited until the day after Obama came out and publicly had a live stream, fundraising live stream with with Obama for to drop this. They're linked now, man. They're linked like this. So they waited till the day after that to unseal these nerves. It's amazing. So there's a lot going on there. While all this is going on, the unsealing of the new documents that Jensen handed off to the court and to the defense thing. Also this morning, the D.C. Court of Appeals rules that Judge Sullivan needs to get up off his ass and dismiss the Flynn case. They heard all the arguments. They let them say their piece. They let, Wilkinson and the lawyers that Sullivan hired, they let them come in there. They let them give their side of it. And they said, nah, dismiss it. And so now the ball's back in Judge Sullivan's court. The way I see it, he's got three things he can do. Only two of them are really plausible. The unplausible one is that he just sits there and pretends there was no ruling today. He says, I'm going to pretend that didn't happen. And he just lets time go by, let the days crawl by until the court, takes the case away from him, which for a while I was really thinking that's what he's trying to do. He wants to be able to say to all of his friends in his Washington, D.C. little group that he hangs out with, oh, I didn't let that criminal go. I didn't dismiss that case. They took it away from me. I didn't give him a pass. They took the case away from him. He might just, I don't see it as much of a chance. He just pretends they didn't rule today. It's much more likely that he does one of two things. He dismisses the case, or he requests what's called an en banc review. And that's when the entire panel of justices on the D.C. Court of Appeals comes in for a hearing, and they hear arguments about it, and then they rule. This was just three judges, a three-judge panel to start this off that made this ruling. It was Henderson, Rao, and Wilkins, I think. Okay, I don't remember off the top of my head how many judges there actually are. There's like 20 or something on the D.C. Court of Appeals. So what Sullivan can do is say, great, I want an en banc review of this. I want a chance to make this case again, but I don't want to make it to just three judges. I want to make it to the entire D.C. Court of Appeals, all the judges. Maybe he's hoping that he can find a couple more judges like, Wilkins that are going to rule for the liberals. But I don't think he's going to have much luck with that, because I've been reading the opinion by Judge Rao, and it is damn near. The balls you'd have to get up there after Rao eviscerated the arguments that Sullivan and Gleason, I think it was Beth Wilkinson, the arguments that they made, Judge Rao just eviscerated them. And now to get an en banc review, they'd have to go up there and basically argue the same stuff that they already lost on. And I haven't gotten to the part where Wilkins does his dissent yet. I'm planning on doing that tomorrow. But there doesn't seem to be any good case to say that Sullivan can act like a prosecutor. He can usurp the powers of the executive branch and say, well, I've decided that this guy needs to go to jail, and I'm going to keep fishing until I find something I can charge him with. He's going to take over the role of the prosecutor. And basically, people have spent 4 weeks now telling this guy, hey, buddy, that's not your job. It's not your job to stand general, to keep fishing for something you can use to charge General Flynn with. That's not your job. This is the confusion of the separation of powers. So there's really, as I see it, two realistic things he could do. Don't be surprised if he loses his nerve and he just dismisses it like he should have done 4 weeks ago. but it's probably much more likely that he asked for an on-bank review. And of course, if he does that, Sidney Powell's going to press for that as soon as possible. And she's on a roll. She is on a roll, man. Sidney Powell has really turned this case around, and she made brilliant arguments. And as you can see from the ruling that Judge Rao wrote, they really agreed with her that Sullivan has attempted to usurp the powers of the executive here, and he can't be allowed to do that. And almost immediately after the court made its decision this morning, Judge Gleason, who was the amicus curiae, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, he was the prosecutor that Judge Sullivan hired to come in and try Flynn. He had Flynn to be charged with perjury. He immediately files with the court saying, well, I don't really think that this ruling has taken effect yet, and I'm asking for an extension, just to show what kind of alternate reality these people live in. I just don't want to accept what's happening. They probably had some sort of different expectation of what was going to happen. And when Sullivan calls in Gleason and invites all these amnesty briefs to be filed, and then I think Sidney Powell firing for a writ of mandamus caught them by surprise, and then they have to go in and have to try to argue this, and they know what they can do, and they end up being argued or heard out, and they're ruled against. And if they try to drag this out, I don't see them being able to come up with any better arguments than they've already presented, and they're not winning arguments. So that's what's been going on with the Flynn case today. Two major developments: the unsealing of the new documents from Jensen, and the Court of Appeals making this ruling. You may have noticed General Flynn is starting to speak out more. He gave several radio interviews today that I saw. One of the things I've really been looking forward to is once this case is in the past, once it's finally all done with and settled, is that he gets to tell his story. And I can't wait to hear what he's got to say. Because he's going to have a hell of a story to tell. I mean, he knows things, and he would have done things in that job, and they were so desperate to keep that from happening that they resorted to what is in effect a criminal conspiracy to bring him and get him out of there as Trump's NSA, and that's one of the biggest branches of the Spygate scandal. If I think of the Spygate scandal as a tree, there's lots of different branches, and some are bigger than others. And the Flynn frame is a big branch in the Spygate tree, along with the Caesar branch and all these other, the planting stories in the media branch and all these other things that they're doing. So there will be more developments. I'm sure there's a lot of things coming by July 3rd. I'm sure they picked that date to be Berman's last day. There's a reason they picked July 3rd. And here we've got like 6 or 7 more days, 6 more days in June, before July gets here. There's like a week and a half, and I'm really expecting more stuff to drop by the time July 4th gets here. I really do. So let's talk about Bolton. Bolton is another issue that's in the news, and man, the more I look into this case, the worse it looks for this guy. Bolton did not allow the classification review to complete. He actually went ahead and gave this book to the publisher, or the publisher published it, and they shipped the books out the door. And by the time the Trump campaign, the Trump administration tried to get this restraining order from this judge, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot the judge can do. The book's already published. It's already distributed. So the judge made a really unique ruling. He said, yeah, okay, I can't really stop this book with this classified information in it from being published. That horse is out of the barn. I can't stop that. But I've looked at the case that the government has made that this book contains classified information, and yeah, I agree with that. Yes, this book has classified information in it, and people go to prison for that. I went into this a while back. I've actually looked up the U.S. criminal code for the federal code for unauthorized disclosure of classified information. The statute of limitations on that is 10 years. So if you do your act where you expose that classified information in 2020, great. You're not off the hook for having done that until 2030, 10 years from now. And it also happens the maximum penalty for doing this, for exposing classified information, is also 10 years in prison. You might get less, but the maximum of the usual sentence is 10 years. So Bolton's in big trouble. He's got nobody to blame but himself. I know that I say, I have to point out that this is the case if everything we see on the surface is true. That everything we see on the surface with Bolton is as it looks. Yeah, he's got to be one of the dumbest people to ever get that high in government service. I mean, because the people have had this idea of him. If he's actually dumb enough to put classified information in a book and send it to a publisher and think he was going to get away with it, think it was just going to be some type of civil thing and be argued in a civil court, he has no idea, he has got to be absolutely either crazy or stupid because, if you go into government service at that level, you get extensive briefings and trainings on how to recognize classified intelligence and information, how to protect it, how to prevent its unauthorized disclosure, and then by the time you get to where Bolton is, you've seen people go to prison for exposing classified information. So the fact that he would do this is just, I mean, if everything is as it looks on the surface, he's got to be the dumbest guy, to ever become an advisor to a president. And this guy named Carlos on Twitter, he kind of reminds everybody of Thomas Wichter, my good friend Thomas Wichter. And Carlos said that when it comes to Bolton and all these other guys that are coming out against Trump right now, Mattis, Kelly, all these generals and all these former Bushies, you call them Bushy, all of them come from the same background. But they were the ones that were back in the Bush administration. The endless wars, the WMD, all the intelligence that turned out to be wrong, and then they didn't want to pull out of Syria. I mean, I've known all this time Trump is a very unique guy. He's like no president we've ever had. He's certainly not George Bush, and it's like all these guys want to come work for him. I guess because they thought they could influence him. They thought they could turn him into a George Bush, and then as the years went on, year 1, year 2, get into year 3, it's starting to dawn on people like Mattis and McMaster, Kelly and Bolton. Wow, we don't seem to be turning this guy around. It's not working. He's telling us we're getting out of Syria. He can't do that. We can't get out of Syria. We need to stay here. and start panicking, And so those rumors, I'm trying to remember who posted this. Somebody posted on Twitter that Anderson Cooper has been talking to Mattis and to several other top former Trump generals about appearing on a program in October where they would openly discuss the fact that they believe Trump is unfit for office. They're going to do that right before the election. And so then Trump talks about treason. He talks about the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Catherine Harris tweets out the relevant statute, the uniform, and the fact that any even retired officers who are receiving benefits, are still under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. And they can and will be court-martialed if they speak out against their commander-in-chief. So I haven't heard much talk lately about Mattis and McMaster and all these guys showing up for Anderson Cooper's planned event in October. It's like all these guys are so disappointed in Trump. They're so disappointed. They thought this guy, that they could work with this guy. They thought they could. He's got potential. Trump's got great potential. Really, you know what they're thinking? This guy's an idiot. And we got to be able to convince him to give us the endless wars that we want. We'll be able to stay in Syria and Iraq and all these places. And, it'll be awesome. It'll be great because he's a dumbass, And then the years go by and Trump keeps disappointing them. He's turned into a massive disappointment. And when he told them, okay, we're getting out of Syria, and X number of days, 130 days, whatever it was, he set a deadline. And then time's up. So he sits down in one of these big briefings with all these military honchos. Okay, give me an update. Yeah, getting out of Syria, give me an update. And I'm like, gee, boss, they realized they hadn't done anything you told them to do. They were bullshitting him, so to speak. We said, okay. And he set a firm date himself. He said, we're getting out. Okay, now remember what happened when he did that. He said, we're getting out. No back talk, no bones about it. We are getting out of Syria. And he set a date and he publicized it. We're pulling out. Remember what happened then? Oh my God! We're abandoning the Kurds. You're going to cause a massive genocide. How could you? How dare you? How could you betray our allies like this? And I carried on with this for, how long was it? A month and a half? Everywhere you look, people saying, oh my God, look what this idiot just did. He betrayed our Kurdish allies. We're going to watch a massive genocide happen, and it's this guy's fault because he wouldn't listen to us. Shit. Okay. That's what happened, a month and a half of a temper tantrum. And it was the Kurdish genocide thing with the cover for, he's not letting us have our war, that son of a bitch. We have to get out of Syria. He's not going to let us stay. It's not fair. But they can't come out and say that. So it's like, oh my God, the Kurds are all going to die. Okay. And what happens then? There is no Kurdish genocide. Okay. Turns out Trump was doing this because I remember what the Carlos guy said on Twitter. He read this peace agreement that came out, the deal that came out after we pulled our, what was it, 300 troops, 300 guys. You know, I mean, how much sense that makes. 300 American soldiers staying right here in this outpost right here is preventing mass genocide and chaos. If we pull these 300 guys out, you know, hundreds of thousands of people are going to die. Okay. So anyway, while he was getting ready to pull these 300 or so U.S. troops out of Syria, Jared Kushner and other people have been working in the background to get an agreement between the Russians, the Turks, and the Syrians and the Kurds. They're all working out a deal. But nobody knew about it because why? Why wasn't the elite culture, especially the military elite culture, why weren't they able to learn that any of this was going on? OPSEC, operational security. They had no idea what was happening until it was over. So Trump didn't mind. You know, can you imagine for a month and a half, Trump's watching all these idiots freaking out over this Kurdish genocide he's about to cause, while he knows that this deal is being worked out between the Turks and the Russians and the Syrians and the Kurds. And he didn't say a damn thing. He just said, well, I'll show you. When the time's right, you'll find out. He zipped his lips. See, Trump sells this idea. He's obsessed over his media coverage. And you see somebody say something bad about him, he's just got to rush out there and say, ha, you're wrong, okay? He doesn't, when he's playing a role, when he's trying to get something done, and he knows that there are even a lot of military people out there that will sabotage what he's trying to do if they find out about it. He has no problem taking bad press for a month and a half and having all the usual suspects, even in the conservative media, running around claiming that he's a butcher. You know, he just got hundreds of thousands of people, got thousands of people killed. You know, he has no problem with that. He's focused on the results. He got the results. The deal got made. Okay, the Kurds pulled back. The territory was set aside. There was no genocide. As a matter of fact, because of that deal that was worked out, we were able to go in there and get our Big Daddy. Yeah, remember, I mean, I ever put that together? The deal got made, and then we got Big Daddy. We pulled our guys out. The deal, because of the deal that was made, and it was just a couple days later, we have the raid that killed Baghdadi, the head of ISIS. So there's all kinds of stuff going on at the time. Trump is focused on getting stuff done. He doesn't mind bad press. He doesn't mind all his military generals running around screaming about he's a traitor and how he's betrayed our allies, because he knows what's going to happen. And what he knew was going to happen is what happened. The deal got done. There was no genocide. And we got the intelligence and the assistance that allowed us to go in there and kill our Baghdadi. And yet, when a lot of people tell you, wow, that Syria thing, massive failure for Trump. Massive failure. Shouldn't have done that. Yeah, that's our facility. Yeah. All these guys were the same ones that told him, don't kill Soleimani now. Don't do that. That would be a mistake. You don't want to kill Soleimani. We need that guy. We would call a war. And that's just another prime example of Trump never doing what these guys tell him to do. So I always try to give him helpful advice, But he knows why they're giving him. Why are they telling him, leave our troops in Syria? They have to stay there. Why? What's being accomplished by them staying in Syria forever? What are we accomplishing? And then Soleimani, because they're now not getting any action in Syria, basically that's coming to an end. The Iranian mullahs are really pissed. They're not getting their money's worth anymore out of Syria. They step up attacks on U.S. targets in Iraq. They start attacking our embassy. They start killing Americans. Then all the usual suspects. You're telling Trump, now be calm now. Don't do anything rash. Sure, they attacked our embassy. Yes, they killed Americans. But don't do something rash. Don't do something stupid here. And so he goes and kills Soleimani with a beautiful drone strike, a perfectly executed drone strike. And all these people freak out for weeks. Oh my God, we're gonna have a war. We got a war going on now with Iran. World War III just started. Like 3 weeks of hysteria. And then nothing happens. I see Iran is a lot of things, but one thing they are not is a valid military power, okay? That's one reason why they spend so much of the money they managed to get their hands on, including those billions of dollars that Obama gave them. That's one reason they spend all this money by dispersing it over the Middle East to terrorist groups and revolutionary groups in all these other countries, because they don't have a real good military. That's how they project power and influence into the region. They enable and equip terrorist groups and give them orders to destabilize countries and to pursue Iranian interests in all these foreign countries. That's what they do. They don't have a conventional military. I'll talk about World War III was always a joke. It's like people that worry about us going to war with Russia. Did you know Russia has one aircraft carrier? And they can't have any, and the one aircraft carrier they have is so badly constructed, it had to be towed back to port the last time it left. It went out on a cruise. And the deck is so short, the planes that take off from that deck can't have any bombs because the plane would be too heavy to take off. So all these, this idea is put out there. Oh my God, the Iranian military, don't get in a war with them. The Russians, like we shouldn't do that because their militaries are so awesome. And that's not the case. And Trump knows this. Trump knows how Iran exerts and projects its influence into the Middle East, funding terrorist groups. So he knew what to do in Syria to get those guys out of there. When he did that, they stepped up their attacks on American targets in Iran. And Trump took a great big hammer and he whacked them with a hammer when he took out Soleimani. So all these generals right now that are and former advisors like Bolton, they're all pissed at Trump. They're all trying to get Trump out of there. They're all trying to stop Trump because he is not the guy they thought he was going to be when they jumped on board back in 2017. I'll tell you what, when I jumped on board with Trump back in 2017, after I'd been never Trump for almost 2 years, when I jumped on board the Trump train, that was June. This was like June 2017. The 3-year anniversary of me being a Trump fan. Okay, when I jumped on board, that was one of the things that I wondered: is he gonna still be, because a lot of people see conservatives as being gung ho with the military. Is he gonna be really enthusiastic about military strikes and military adventures abroad? I guess is a good way to put it. So that was the one thing I wondered about, because I think I learned from Bush. I was one of the guys that was supporting Bush, in the Iran war, going in there and taking out Saddam and all that. And then watched this totally fumble the aftermath of it that dragged on for years. That's the one thing I wonder about Trump is that will he turn into that kind of president, another Bush? Okay, and we had the only airstrike against Syria when they sent out the planes to drop the chemical weapons on their own people. And it looked for a while, yeah, okay, he just hit Syria, he dropped bombs on the runway down there, and that had a lot of people really worried. But now we're in 3.5 years into the Trump presidency. It's clear this guy is not George Bush, and it's clear that the generals and the guys that came on board in 2017 thought they could influence this guy and pull him in a certain direction. They're now openly calling for him to be removed from office because they don't like what he's doing. They realize he was playing them. That he played them, he let them come on board, he used them, he got what he wanted from them, and then he discarded them. And now we have the Space Force, and now we have other things, and the military is changing. I don't know if you follow this Carlos Ozuita guy on Twitter. He's pretty good. He talked about how they're changing the Marines. The Marines and all these the military, they're losing their tanks. They're out there. There's a dramatic change going on in the U.S. military where they are changing how they fight, how they project their influence in these foreign theaters. Wars of invasion and occupation are over. They will never happen again. There's no reason for them. The whole paradigm is changed. And Trump understands this. And that's one reason why we did the huge Saudi weapons deal. One of the very first things he got done in becoming president was the Saudi arms deal. And here all the usual suspects out there screaming about that. The Saudis aren't really our allies, and we need to ditch them. But Trump understands there's a new paradigm coming in military affairs. We have allies there in that region now that can police it themselves. They don't need the dozen American bases all over the place. They don't need U.S. troops sitting around there, to guarantee the security. These guys have finally gotten into a state where they can guarantee their own security. They themselves can keep Iran in check. Through Saudi Arabia and the Gulf Cooperation Council, they can do this on their own. We can give them the stuff, military hardware, but we don't need to go there and do their job for them any longer. And so that's why Trump is changing the game. And these military generals over here in the U.S. and the military contractors who are all making money off of the idea we were always going to be in the Middle East, and we were always going to be here, have to be there, guaranteeing the security for the region and keeping Iran in check. And they were going to make bank on that. All of a sudden, they glimpse the future and they go, "Oh my God, we've got to get Trump out of here now." And so that's why it's like a lot of these guys seem to flip on a dime. They figured out Trump is not going to do what they expected him to do. As a matter of fact, he's doing the exact opposite. He's getting most of the U.S. military out of the region. We'll only go in when we're asked to go in, we're invited to go in, and we'll be in a support role. It'll be the locals that'll be doing all the heavy lifting and all the heavy work, and we'll be helping. And that is a far cry from the Bush days when we came in there with our big swinging debt. We told everybody what was what and how things were going to be done, and we were in charge, and that was it. That's the world all these military generals like Mattis and advisors like Bolton, that's the world they grew up in. That's the world they're comfortable with. That's the world they wanted to see continue. And they realized Trump is a direct threat to that. So just like Trump is a direct threat to everything in the Washington establishment on the political side, the Democrats and the Republicans, the Uniparty, And that he's a direct threat to that. He's also a direct threat to the military um, culture that has been there for decades. So they have an expectation about how much money they'll be making, the defense contractors, and all the different theaters they're going to be operating in. And all of a sudden, Trump's coming in saying, "Well, I'm changing all this. Yeah, I'm getting out. We'll just leave a tiny footprint there." So all these military contractors here, they're saying, "Well, how are we going to make our money? That's not fair. We're gonna make we'll be able to sell our military hardware. What are you doing, man? We'll be able to build our bases and all the construction that we do. This isn't fair." Yeah, well, show me when these people cried for all the private sector people here in the United States that were losing their jobs and losing their businesses and being taxed out of existence. So I don't have any sympathy for defense contractors. So Trump is changing the game. That's good. It's a good thing. We're going to be in better shape. The world is going to be in better shape. It's actually to everybody's benefit that Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates and Kuwait and all these other countries in that region can police themselves and provide for their own security, and they have the Gulf Coast Cooperation military force, like a UN force, except one that can actually fight. Okay, and they can keep Iran can handle their part of the world. We don't need to be over there in big numbers and big force. So Trump's changing the game. Bolton's not happy about it. So Bolton wrote a book, need to whine and complain and bitch about the fact that he doesn't like what President Trump is doing. He thinks President Trump is unfit for the office because Trump turned out to not be George Bush 2.0. And he's real mad about it. And he's probably, if everything is what it looks like on the surface, he's going to probably end up going to prison because he was so mad about it. Then he had to write this book. And even when he was warned not to do it, he leaves classified information in this book. Even when they tell him, "No, stop, don't, there's classified information in this book," he gives it to the publisher anyway. So, hey, if he goes to prison, fine. He's like, what, in his 60s, 70s? Right? He called the turn. He's going to have to dance to it. Okay. Now, let's talk about Bubba. Let's talk about Bubba. I watch a lot. I'm sitting here writing columns and stuff, and on my Twitter, I have a TV right here. And I usually have it on ESPN. Yeah. And I've watched the nature of sports programming change dramatically in the last I'm not talking about just the last couple of weeks. I mean the last couple of years. I watched a lot of ESPN, that Fox Sports Network, and some of these other sports channels. I watched a lot of this, not just the actual sports events, but the sport-related programming. And they're doing a pretty good show on Ali, Muhammad Ali. So, there's a lot of good stuff on there. But I've noticed in the last couple of years that it's really changed, and they don't do just sports coverage anymore. It's almost always political lecturing. They've been studying this up for some time, now, especially ever since Trump won the election in 2016. The left, the political left, realized, okay, we've got to find a way to get the message across to these idiots. And we know from the constant things that they say on social media, they use sports as a safe haven, as a way to retreat, so we cannot hector and lecture them and get in their faces and tell them what we think of them and their racism. And so we're going to fix that. and they have spent 3.5 years getting ready to fix it. They're going to fix it so you can't even retreat into the world of sports: football, basketball, hockey, baseball, boxing, MMA, um, anything. They're going to they're going to come in there and they're going to lecture you, and you cannot escape. You will not be allowed to escape. It's for your own good. See, C.S. Lewis said the worst kind of fanaticism is the one that they're trying to, the one that they do for your own good. Man, intentions are so good. I'm so perfect. I'm so kind and compassionate and caring. I'm such a wonderful person. I'm going to see America change from its systemic racist history, and I'm going to lecture as many people as I can before I die about how evil they are because they have white skin. And I'm going to devote my life to this crusade. These people are everywhere. And so they spent 3 years preparing. I guess I called it in a recent column an ideological blitzkrieg. They spent 3 years in the newsrooms and the sportscasting booths and sports networks, gaming networks, Netflix, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. They spent 3.5 years getting ready for a sustained ideological blitzkrieg on the rest of us for the starting in the summer before the election. And they're going to give us some non-stop months of ideological lecturing, or the word that we come to use to describe this kind of thing, gaslighting. They're going to spend 4 more months enthusiastically gaslighting us for our own good. So that's what led to this Bubba Wallace thing. And I knew from the moment I first heard the story, a news in a NASCAR garage. Okay, first of all, I only recently got interested in the world of auto sports racing. I watched that awesome series on Netflix called Formula One Drive to Survive. I found that fascinating. Not so much the racing, but the story behind these drivers, man. They're fascinating personality. That's drew me in. 10 teams, 20 drivers, 21 races, all over the world. And the constant fighting and the politics for who gets to keep their seat and who moves to what team, who moves to what other team, and who gets kicked out of the sport. I found that fascinating. Okay, but one thing I've always known about NASCAR is that these cars are worth millions of dollars. Just the engine alone, and a NASCAR sports car could be like $600,000. Just the engine. So by the time you put together a whole car, and you put together all the tools and equipment needed to maintain and race that car, that garage is going to have a couple $1 million worth of stuff in it. So the moment they tell me some guy ninjaed his way into that garage with a rope with a big leaf, and he hung it in that garage where it would be found. Uh, it just says my connection is unstable. So it says they're trying to reconnect. I don't know if anybody's seeing this right now. Okay. So anyway, the story that some guy ninjaed his way into this garage where there's millions of dollars worth of equipment and a $1 million race car is sitting. Somehow he got in there and he hung this noose and he ninjaed his way out without anybody seeing it. Bullshit. I don't buy it. I don't buy that for a second. And then as 4 or 5 days went by of this, remember, I got ESPN on TV right here. Right there. Okay. And I watch that whenever I'm at my computer and I'm typing and I'm writing. And they had endless coverage of this thing. Hours and hours on it. They never show you the news. Why would they never show it to you? Say, here's the news that started the whole thing. Here it is. Bring out some. I still not. Here it is, guys. Hold it up there. That'd be the first thing that would happen if this was a real story. So that's I suspected from the beginning it was a hoax. Well, I noticed as the days go by, they never show you the news. No, I'm positive it's a hoax. And then the FBI gets involved. See, I don't think they counted on that. I don't think they thought the FBI would jump into this. I figured that whoever decided to set this up and make it go, exhaustively talk about it for weeks, that I never expected the FBI to jump in quickly like that and say, let us take a look. And so they take a look. While the FBI takes a look, you know, it was like after 2 days after the FBI said, we're taking a look. Last refuge to the conservative treehouse, they start finding these videos that show you what this supposed news says. And they show you how all these different garages at Talladega have the same garage door pull rope with a little loop on it. So I had a garage door like that for years. So the reason they put a little loop on it, if it's just a rope, your hand can slide down the rope. You need a loop so you can like stick your thumb in there or your couple fingers or something to grab onto as you pull on the garage door to bring it down. That's why the loop is there. So, so the FBI investigated, and they quickly come out and say, yeah, we have no evidence this was a hate crime. This is the same time that the videos and the pictures are already circulating about the garage door pull ropes. And it's obvious to everybody at this point, it's a hoax. Okay, and when I was at the gym, this would have been, let's see, what's today? Wednesday. When I was at the gym on Monday, I'm working out. I got ESPN on the big screen up there. Oh, boy, I'm working out up the weights. Oh, God, so heavy. Oh, and there's a 10-minute segment on ESPN. And they have a panel. It's a panel discussion. A 10-minute segment with 3 different people, all talking about the Bubba Wallace news. And they have the captions on so I can follow it. So I'm watching this, and I'm thinking, let's see how long it takes them to bring up Jussie Smollett. Let's see how long it takes somebody to say the word hoax, or maybe this is fake. Could be. Okay. So I'm watching. 5 minutes go by, and nobody's brought up Jussie Smollett, about how outraged they are. This proves that America is systematically racist, and we got a long way to go in this country. I'm shocked and I'm outraged. 7 minutes, 8 minutes. Nobody ever changes the tune. It's just basically 10 minutes of people saying the same thing over and over again. This is horrible. This is terrible. Somebody would do this to a nice guy like Bubba Wallace. Single him out for his race. This can't happen in America. This is so sad, you know. And 10 minutes of this, we just had this massive race hoax in this country last year with Jussie Smollett. And it's already been memory hold. Okay, when the next hoax comes out, we're not even going to mention the previous hoax. See, that spoils the effect. If you mention the previous hoax, it spoils the real hoax, the new hoax that you're trying to launch. And now that the truth has come out, what did they spend all day trying to do today? You just saw that clip of Reverend Al. Reverend Al Sharpton. Well, it's still an alleged news. This is still being investigated. I'm not ready to say this is over yet. Um, if there was real racism in this country, if it was deeply ingrained in black people, if it was white racism that was holding back the black community in this country, why do people keep having to fake it? Why do they keep having to fake it? I would suggest to you, it is not white racism and system. It's Democrats. Democrats are holding back the black community in America. There's one thing that, I think people should really listen to Candace Owens and Terrence Williams and Brandon Stracker, or all these people that are from these groups that the Democrats say those are our groups. Those groups belong to us. We own them. But they're saying we're being exploited. They're not really out for you. They're using you as a tool to grab more power. That's all they're doing. They're using your race, or you're being black or gay or a woman or whatever. They're using that as a tool to expand their power. They do not care about you. And as all this stuff is going on, all this systemic racism psychobabble is going on, Chicago just had the worst weekend of violence it's ever had. Over 105 people, I think it was, got shot in one weekend in Chicago. Where's Black Lives Matter? Where are they? Well, I'll tell you, they don't care. A black person killing a black person does not advance Marxist political fortunes. 105 black people, mostly being shot by other black people, does not advance Marxism and cultural destabilization in America. So they don't care. Well, they don't care about all these black people dying in Chicago. I'm a white guy living in Texas. I care about it. Something should be done. It grieves me that there's a city in this country where the most vulnerable community in that city, 100 people in that community can be shot in one weekend. And nobody in that city seems, and the powers running that city, the Democrats running that city, seem to have the first goddamn clue what to do to fix it. They've had years to fix it, and they can't do it. So this isn't a racism problem. The mayor of Chicago is black. This is not racism. This is ideological. You got ideological lunatics in charge of some of these cities. And that's one thing this pandemic has clearly brought up. There was you could say, one positive thing that came out of a worldwide pandemic launched from China. It's that it exposed a lot of these Democrats in these cities and states, the governors and mayors. It exposed them for the petty tyrants they are. And now even people who voted for them, who have their heads screwed on right. I mean, not everybody who lives in a blue state is a commie flag waving Marxist radical, okay? Some of these people have just fallen for the I call it the compassion psychobabble, empathy psychobabble. They just vote for they've been conditioned to vote for the politician that talks about empathy the most. You got your choice between a Democrat and a Republican. When you pick the Democrat because the Democrat cares about you. The Republican says, vote for me. I'll fix the economy. I'll solve the crime problem. And there are all these practical solutions. And the Democrat just gets up there and says, vote for me because I care about you. And it works. It works. But here's the thing that a lot of people are waking up to because of this pandemic. They don't really care about you. Not really. They'll lock you into your houses. They'll destroy your businesses. They'll let rioters run amok in their city, burning down businesses, assaulting people around the street, burning cop cars. Okay, and they're gonna tell you you can't go to church, you can't go to the store, and you can't go vote in person. So no, they don't care about you. They never cared about you. See, when I vote for a politician, I'm not virtue signaling something about myself. So I'm awesome because I'm voting for candidate Y who empathizes with me as a kind, caring, compassionate person. And I'm showing the world something about me. I'm showing them that I'm a kind, caring, compassionate, and empathetic person by voting for Nancy Pelosi. That's bullshit. You vote for a politician to do a job. You're hiring somebody, you're giving power to somebody to do a job. That's all you're doing. You're not telling anybody anything about yourself. Virtue signaling, empathy or whatever, that's just so much gas. And that's one thing why a lot of these blue states are in such bad shape because a lot of the voters in those states have been conditioned to think they're telling people something about themselves by voting for Democrats. I'm signaling my virtue. So I am an awesome person because I vote for Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Bill de Blasio and Andrew Cuomo and Gretchen Whitmer and Tim Walz and Jacob Frey and Jenny Durkin. Okay, so I'm an awesome person because I vote for these people. No, you're not. You're a sucker. You've been suckered, and you're going to continue to be suckered until you get these people out of office. And that's the one thing that I'm happy about. That I can say I'm happy about because the way things have gone, because millions of former Democratic voters in these blue states have now been woken up by watching all this literal insanity that's gone on over the past couple months. And it is insanity, and it's going to get worse. They're going to gaslight us like nothing you've ever seen before. It's like I was talking about the Bubba Wallace thing. It instantly disappeared after that FBI made that, publicized that finding yesterday. The Bubba Wallace story has instantly disappeared from ESPN. I don't even see them talking about it. Some of the network news shows, they brought in Al Sharpton and some other people to discuss it, but this ESPN, I haven't seen one mention of it since I started watching it. I was at Applebee's for lunch earlier, and I commented that to the wait staff. They got all these TVs on all day on. It's like, wow, there's nothing on there about Bubba Wallace anymore. Imagine that. It's because that narrative can no longer be used to advance Marxist causes. So, time to move on. So, Bubba Wallace, we hardly knew you. You were famous for a couple of days. Now nobody cares. Oh well. NASCAR burned itself down for us. So there will be no place to retreat this year. People were saying, "Oh, I'll just retreat into sports," and the SJWs figured that out, and so they craftily planned their counterattack for the last 3.5 years, and now here we are. The NFL is going to go right back to showing the kneelers before every game. You'll be getting lectures from the broadcasters before every game, while the cameras find the kneelers, and the broadcasters will explain to you why they are kneeling and why it is right and good and just for them to kneel for the national anthem. And every game will start this way, starting in the preseason. Major League Baseball is coming back. You'll see it in the baseball games. Assuming the NBA season actually kicks off, we'll see it in the NBA too. So it'll be non-stop. Oh, college football. People say, oh, the NFL, they got the NFL. Oh, I still have college football. I still have college football. They haven't gotten college football yet. Yes, thank God. I got some bad news. They went after college football too. Sorry, folks. They're gonna see the entire team come out and say to their fans, "We don't care if you have a problem if we kneel for the anthem." Our Hawkeyes already did that. Some other teams are gonna follow suit. Come and say, "We're gonna kneel." And there's nothing you fans can do about it. You can't stop us from kneeling. Okay, fine. Go ahead and kneel there. I won't be watching. I'm going to find other things to do. I'll watch the first couple of NFL games, just see if I'm right. I'm pretty sure, with all this attention that's on it, and Drew Brees and J.J. Watt and all these other players, there's nothing wrong with kneeling. It's fine. It's just an expression, What happens the first game that shows up and Drew Brees and J.J. Watt don't kneel? Or if they kneel, what happens? They'll teach you either they'll kneel or they won't. If they don't, they're gonna have to apologize for not kneeling. If they do, there's gonna be fallout from that. So yeah, it's 2020 is a year that's gonna suck. The only bright thing is the truth coming out about Spygate, Flynn being exonerated and vindicated, and Trump getting reelected. Those are probably the three big things. Okay. I'm just being honest with you. They have completely contaminated the sports world. But the good news is I don't think it'll stay like this for very long after the election. They're going to bleed money. They're going to bleed dollars like nothing they've ever seen before. Hopefully, it only takes one more season for them to pull their head out and go back to the way things were before after the big Marxist push failed and Trump is massively reelected. Let's talk about the big push for everybody to move to Parler. That's another thing that's been going on the past couple of days. I have a Parler account. I'm warning you. I need to be checking it more often. But a lot of people that are pushing this move to Parler, the pitch they're making is they don't want us here and they're censoring us here. I don't want to be on a platform where they censor me and they treat me like this. I want to go to a place where everybody's nice and everybody agrees with me and we all say the same stuff. And there's no liberals there, and there's no icky people that don't believe what I believe. So I want to go to Parler. And I'm saying, well, I don't agree with that. I'm a disciple of Andrew Breitbart. Andrew Breitbart said one of the biggest mistakes that conservatives make is that instead of engaging the culture, they withdraw from it. And they go, I don't like, the culture is not treating me fair, so I need to go to a place where I will be treated fair. Yeah, if that's your big motivation in fighting the culture war, if the people treat you fairly, yeah, this fight's not for you. By all means, go somewhere else. Okay? My driving thing for fighting the culture war, for fighting for this country, is not that people treat me fairly. That's not it. I don't give a rat's ass about being treated fairly. I'm here to fight for the culture. And when you fight for the culture, you fight for it where the fight is at. And the fight is not on Parler. The fight is on Twitter. The fight is on Facebook. So I'm not going to retreat. If people want to take a break from Twitter and go to Parler, where everybody, where mostly the people there are conservative and are nice, and there's not that much conflict, and there's a lot of the air. I'm not saying Twitter doesn't have a lot of bad stuff on it. It does. If you want to go to a place like Parler where it's nice and calm and safe to recharge your batteries, or whatever, I have no problem with that. But what alarms me is I start hearing people saying it's time to beat a full scale retreat off this platform. It's time to sound the retreat and get off of it. I don't run from a fight. That's not my way. Andy Piper says we win because culture is is the culture is where the battle is at. Politics is downstream from culture, and you ain't ever gonna turn this culture around if you retreat from a fight. And so right now, yes, they're censoring conservatives. They just tossed Carpe Don't come off the site. Yes, they did that. They're starting to censor the president's tweets. They're starting to place warning labels on his tweets. Yeah, okay. I'll be the first to tell you it's not fair. Twitter is not a fair platform. Not fair at all. And we're on an uneven playing field, not an even playing field. This is an uneven playing field, and it's slanted towards the left. I have no illusions about that. Okay, and they're going to do unfair things. The staff is basically a bunch of leftist tech geeks who think that they control the horizontal and the vertical. They control social media, and they still mistake social media for reality. You can see this every time you watch the Twitter trends. If something pops up in there that they don't like, and they immediately get rid of it, and they replace it with something else. And they think they're altering reality when they do that, because these goons have mistaken social media for the real world. And they got one hell of a wake-up call coming on November 3rd. They find out all their clever little tricks didn't get them anything. Okay, but when it comes to moving to Parler, yes, I have no problem with somebody having two accounts. But the idea that we all need to migrate right now and abandon Twitter, I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with running from a fight. You're never going to win the culture war moving in reverse. And that's what this is. This is a war for the culture, and it's never more evident than right now, where we're watching Marxist goon squads tear down statues and demand that places change their names, and they're openly calling for a revolution because they claim this country was founded wrong. It was founded on systemic racism, and it's time to have a new founding based on Marxist socialism. So this is not the time to retreat. I'm not retreating. Retreat, hell, I just got here. And I've just begun to fight. I have not yet begun to pounce. I'm going to pounce so hard, I'm going to strain something. Okay? So that's why some of this Parler stuff rubs me the wrong way. I see people talking about retreating. They don't want us to. I'm just a nice, safe, innocent little conservative, and they keep telling me they don't want me here. Well, you can leave if you want to. Me, I'm staying. I want to fight to the bitter end, because this is my country, this is my culture, I want to pass on a strong American culture to the next generation. And these people out there right now who want to and they want to create an alternate reality on social media that they feel they can control it and they can dictate what's said and not said on these social media platforms, and that's how they're going to win. And you have many people on our side that believe these lunatics that they're actually going to win because they can shape social media. And that's how they're going to perpetuate their control over the country. It's bullshit. Social media is not the world. Don't fall for the same dumb things that these leftist goons are telling themselves. So that's my feelings on it. Everybody, let's get out of here and migrate to Parler. Yeah, move to Parler, or you can go to Parler and open up an account. But don't run from a fight. We're not going to save this culture by retreating. I've gone for almost an hour and a half. I didn't really mean to do an hour and a half, but this is an amazing time. There are a lot of great things that are happening right now. There's movement in the Flynn case. There's movement in Spygate. All kinds of things are happening. All kinds of things are going to continue to happen. This is an exciting time. We'll look back in years from now and say, 2020. That's when it happened. That's when Flynn was vindicated. That's when the truth about Spygate came out. That's when Donald Trump got reelected. That's when all these criminals and everything they had been doing was completely exposed. Now, I don't mean just Spygate. I mean Ukrainegate. I mean the Wiener laptop. I mean everything they've been doing. The billions of dollars they've been stealing. The influence they've been selling. It's all going to come out. Because Donald Trump is not just out to put a dozen asses in orange jumpsuits. He's out to destroy an entire system. And he's going to do it. Thank you and good night.